Welcome to Our Highest Work, a podcast where we are gathering and sharing the best ideas and resources for spiritually based business and life success. My name is George Cow, and today we continue our series on true livelihood. Particularly, we are utilizing the mind map called Simple Livelihood, and we're talking about how to uh, be sure you are matching what you love to do and what you are good at doing with what the market will actually pay you for, what the world would actually hire you for. So, as always, I'd like to begin with today's quote, and the quote is from Peter Drucker, who is one of the greatest business consultants of all time, business teachers. And he said, "The aim of marketing is to know and understand the customer so well that the product or service fits the customer and sells itself." I'll say it again. The aim of marketing is to know and understand the customer so well that the product or service fits the customer so well and basically sells itself. So that's a wonderful way of thinking about marketing, because a lot of times people think that marketing is about whatever I've got to tell as many people as I can, as many people get as much traffic to my website as possible, and then if I get if a million people come to my website, of course I'll get some sales, right? Well, marketing's first task is to make sure you match. You match what you are good at, what you're strong at, with what the market actually wants to pay for. In other words, what is valuable to other people. Because the better you do at matching, the less you have to work hard at trying to get lots of traffic to your site. The better you are at matching, the more you are in service in a way to the world that they understand and value and would pay for. And the more you do that, the less work you have to do in marketing, because you might send 10 of the right people to your website, and 8 of the 10 people buy your service or product, because guess what? You've done the work of matching. So we continue talking about that today. In the last episode, I talked to you about the first part of matching, which is to have conversations with people to clarify what you do. Okay, and at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share with you my mind map. All right, so the mind map is, you'll see it in a moment. And for those of you who are listening, you can follow along anyway. I'm going to do my best to share what I'm seeing on the mind map. And if you can, I would encourage you to watch the video later if you're not watching it, because you'll be able to get the information much better that way. So last episode, we went over the blue activities in the matching node of the mind map. And today, we're going to go over the yellow activities, and just taking it to the next level. Once you've done the blue activities of generally having conversations with people, and enough people where you're starting to be able to clarify, be able to quickly say what you do, maybe have a one-liner about what you do, and have enough clarity that generally what people would want to buy from you. Then we move over to the yellow stage. And in the yellow stage, the first, all 4 activities are important in the yellow stage. But let's begin with clarifying your business model, exploring your business model and your pricing. So let's open this up and take a look. All right. So before you clarify your business model, it's really helpful to know what available time you have, as well as how much money you're trying to earn from your business. And by the way, I know I'm primarily speaking to those of you who are solopreneurs or would like to create a business that's basically yourself first. You might outsource some website design or whatever, but it's basically you delivering some kind of service, because that's the easiest type of business to start. Any of you who want to create a true livelihood, you don't know what to do, well, the easiest type of thing is to sell a service, right? So first, you got to clarify what your financial needs are and your time needs. And let's take a look at this brand and see what's available here. Now, I do invite you again to come back to this mind map later and take a close look at all this stuff. But without clarifying your financial needs, you don't know whether you need to have 100 clients paying you, $500 a month or what, right? I mean, maybe you only need. So, for example, when I talk to most people about what they need, the number $3,000 a month comes back a lot. So for most people, $3,000 to $6,000 generally the number I hear from most people. Now, some people need less. Some people need a lot less. Some people need a lot more for whatever reason. Maybe they're supporting their family. They have to save for retirement or whatnot. But generally, let's say $3,000 a month would be sustaining for you, for your business. So what does that mean? So imagine, right, that you had 20 clients paying you for your service of $150 a month. That's $3,000 a month. So by doing a good job of matching and then just doing a little bit of outreach, you'll probably get those 20 clients a month. And if you're not getting those 20 clients a month, you haven't yet done a good enough, you haven't been diligent enough in doing your matching. So that's what you need to do, is to more diligently apply the activities I've given you in the blue segments here, as well as the yellow segments, and of course the green segments, which we'll talk about next time. Okay, so one more thing that I would invite you to think about is be sure that you figure in taxes. So whatever tax rate, so for example, maybe your tax rate is, I don't know, 20%, 25%, 30%. Let's say your tax rate is 20%. That means, and if you need $3,000 to live on, that means that if I do $3,000 divided by 0.8, that's how you figure out what you need to earn if you have a 20% tax rate. 3,000 divided by 0.8. If you have a 30% tax rate, for example, you would do $3,000 divided by 0.7. So, and by the way, a lot of people don't know, but you can just go to google.com as your calculator. So 3,000 divided by 0.8 equals 3750. You see? So this is the amount of money you would need to earn if you had a 20% tax rate. Again, if you have a 30% tax rate, let's say $3,000 divided by 0.7 equals, that means you'll need to earn about $42.86 a month. Okay, so let's continue going here. Now, the reason why I suggest this number, this very doable number, is because if you follow any other marketing or business coaches, you'll often hear the idea of making six figures. Listen, they sell you six figures because they're using greed and desire. Most of us don't need six figures to be financially sustainable and to be happy. Now, some of us do, like I said, for whatever medical purposes or saving for retirement. But don't fall into the trap of thinking you have to make six figures in order to be successful. So let's stop that. Let's stop that nonsense. Okay. That greed, right? I mean, yes, eventually your business could make six figures or even more, but let's first get to financial sustainability and then go from there. Now, in terms of clarifying your time needs, I welcome you to look at my lecture on creating balance, and in there I teach on how to create an ideal calendar. Okay, and in fact, I even have a time suggestion here in the mind map that you can look at. And for more free guidance, I've given you some, to clarify your financial needs even further, I have a Conscious Money Flow series that's completely free that I invite you to watch and benefit from as well. Okay, so next about clarifying your business model is to talk about delivery models. How will you deliver your services to your clients? Will it be one-to-one? Will it be through a group type of, group coaching, for example? Will it be through workshops and trainings, facilitating workshops and trainings, things like that, live events? So think about, these are the general three types of delivery models. And you can get creative and combine these three, or look at what other people are doing and customize yourself based on these. And in the mind map, I give you some more instruction on these three. And if you have any questions, of course, please, you are welcome to comment on the Facebook thread of this episode. Now, for those of you who happen to be live, I know I have very few live watchers today, but live watchers, you're always welcome to comment on the video itself. There's no comments right now, that's okay. But for those of you who are listening or watching this later, you'll find the Facebook comments thread for this episode associated with the notes, with the details, with the description of this video or of this audio. So go there, ask your questions. I look forward to seeing what they are and helping you whenever I can. So one of the cool things that I'm seeing these days, and in fact I'm advising my clients to do, is to offer a limited number of free sessions each month. And then, if people start to sign up for your free sessions, for example, I have a client, Eileen Kennedy. I'm going to show you her free sessions page. And, she does Bazi readings, a limited number for free each month. Actually, she does one each week at this point. Now, she may change that by the time you look at this. She may be offering fewer each month. But yeah, in fact, if you're looking at this between August and October of 2014, I would really invite you to take her up on it. She's really good. My wife had a reading with her, and it was very helpful for my wife to clarify her life purpose, things like that. Bazi is using an ancient Chinese method of based on your birth, a date and time, and other things like that to better understand your life purpose, et cetera, et cetera. So she usually charges $198. It takes her 3 hours to do the Bazi reading for someone, and so she very reasonable rate of $198, and she's doing a couple free ones, and this is what I advise her to do, right? So she actually has a paid. Actually, no, that link, Eileen, should go to your paid thing, but she has her paid Bazi reading, which is here, and this is her sales page for paid Bazi reading, $198. Anyone can buy it there, but her free one is here, and as you can see, she describes what her experience with doing this and what she does there, and she advises people how to inquire about their free Bazi reading. And she basically says, hey, you know what? After you register for your free reading, we're going to set a date. But if it's backed up, you can always buy one to get one faster, okay, if you want one faster. And these are all the clients she's had, or a few of the clients she's had who wanted to share their comments, including my wife here. And down here, you can register for a free reading. So check this out. So this is a great model, right? So I advised Eileen to do this because by doing this, she always continues to stay in the game, whether she's getting paid readings or free readings. She's continuing to stay in the game of doing the readings and continuing to get even better at what she does. And of course, to get even more testimonials, to get even more referrals, right? So that's a great way of, for those of you who are wanting to get more experience in what you do, whether you're just starting out or whether you're at an intermediate or advanced level like Eileen is, it's always a good idea to keep doing your work, okay? Okay, so I'm going to let you, additional resource here in the mind map is a series of ideas that I have for you called offer formats. Let's take a look together. I've written here for you in this list a bunch of things you could consider selling, basically, things you can consider selling or including in your services. So you could include, pre-recorded lectures or trainings. You could include guided meditations, live presentations that you could record and sell or include in your services that you offer that content to your clients. You can interview other experts. You could have panel discussions with other colleagues about the work. You could do telesummits, and it could be audio or video. You could offer PDF transcripts of your content. You could do slideshows. You could have a Kindle book. You could do worksheets, templates, journals, guided questions, inspirational calendars, checklists. All this stuff I list for you, and then even more could be included in your services or your products. Okay? That's a great resource list for you there. Okay. Now, about how to price your services. How to price your services. I actually wrote a post about this that I thought that I myself use as a very simple but effective method to price your services. So I'm actually going to just suggest that you go ahead and read this. I will be sure to include this particular link in the show notes. But again, just to very briefly go over it, it's by beginning with understanding what your monthly income goal is, including your costs for your business. okay, including taxes, okay, things like that. And then estimate what is the number of sales you could reasonably expect to get for your business at this stage. Now, if you don't know how to estimate it, think about how much audience members do you have? Some of you are starting with your friends and family, right? Or some of you are starting with a number of Facebook friends. Maybe you have 300 Facebook friends. Think about the audience members that you have, and out of those audience members, approximately how many you would guess, just estimate for now, would be willing to buy your services. That's where you start. So let's say you have 300 Facebook friends, and you could email, 30 of your warm contacts about your new services. Then you have 330 contacts you could reach out to. With your Facebook friends, of course, you could post on Facebook, but you might also want to reach out to them individually, one by one, at least the ones who really make sense. So out of 330 people, let's say that 5% are really well matched for your services. So 330, again, I'm going to go to just to show you that Google is so effective, right? Google 330 times 0.15, I'm sorry, 0.05, 5%. So that would be about 16 people would be well matched for your service. So let's say you start with 16 sales in your first month. I'm not saying that what happened, but if you do the work of matching well, if you do these blue, yellow, and green activities in this mind map well, you might well have 16 sales in your first month that you offer your services, right? So 16 sales, and we're talking about pricing. So if you had 16 sales, right, then divide your income goal by 16 sales. So again, earlier we were talking about income goal being $37.50. Divided by 16 sales equals $234. So you can start with $234, 234. It's kind of like a playful number. You can start with 235 or whatever, 234 or 250 for your price for your services. So you can say, hey, these 16 people, I'm going to serve 16 people, $250 a month, and this is what I'm going to do my best work for them. Okay, and compare this number of $230 or $250 with what peers are charging for similar services. All right, and that's how you basically come up with your pricing, and then you can increase your price over time as you prove that you do your services a great job of doing them, and people are getting so much value out of them. You're getting testimonials, and you can start to increase your price bit by bit as you find that people are still saying yes. And you could start with your 16 people, and then if you do a great job for the 16 people, those 16 people could refer you to another, if each one referred 3 more customers to you, right? Again, go back to Google, 16 times 3 equals 48 people. So if each one referred 3 people, that's 48 prospective customers for you for your next launch. Does that make sense? So very simple way of pricing your service. Okay, I also want to show you a sample yearly plan and a time budget. So this is actually really helpful. I've put this together for you, and this is in the mind map as well. And this is basically, literally, this is my yearly plan. This is what I'm doing. I have a 12-week program, so this is what I do, and I try to take a break, every couple of weeks. And then this is how I do my enrollment/launch, I should say, launch plan. And I give you sample links of if I have sample emails or have resources for you for each launch stage, I give that to you here as well. But I also want to show you my weekly time budget. So this is actually how I spend my week, right here in the spreadsheet. This is the category. This is the activity I'm actually doing. I even include breaks in there, so I have a really good work-life balance. I have the times I'm serving my clients and what I'm doing with them. Client one-on-one calls. This is what I do for free for the public. I try to do as much for free in my working week as I can for the public, like doing this podcast. I don't charge for it, even though I could very well have been selling these things for a lot of money, this kind of content and coursework, but I'm doing all this for free. And then maintenance work, it's morning reviews and end-of-day reviews. I actually give you links to show you what I do in my morning reviews and end-of-day reviews. That's all part of these resources here. This is literally what I do: morning review and end-of-day review. And then for my growth, for I grow myself, and I make sure I do at least 2 hours per week where I'm really focusing on my growth in especially my business. So, and then my marketing, it's about 5 hours a week, and I basically do that. I do my enrollment or launch based on the yearly template I just showed you. I send email to my database. Usually I send nowadays I send a monthly email. Sometimes when I'm doing a launch, I'll send a weekly email. Things like that. Okay, so I even have regular actions I do in my business and frequency. These are things I do every week. These are things I do every 2 weeks. These are things I do once a month. Those of you who are listening to this, like, what are you talking about? Just watch the video and follow the mind map, and I have all that in there. Okay, because I need to move on now to the other. You might want to take a look at the technologies that I use as well, right here. Okay, in this mind map. Okay, let's go on to the next part of the yellow activities, which is clarifying the problems and wants of your ideal audience. Like I said, the better you understand. Remember the quote that I mentioned at the beginning of the episode. The aim of marketing is to know and understand the customer so well that product or service product or service fits the customer and sells itself. Right? So this is what we're doing here in clarifying the problems and wants of the ideal audience. And I give you basically 3 activities here. Okay, 3 activities to do. You could do niche interviews. And I give you a resource on how to do niche interviews here. If you click on this, you'll see literally a template for what to say, how to reach out. Okay, all this is available to you here. Okay, optionally, you could conduct a survey, and I've given you a link here for ideas of how to do surveying. Okay, of your prospective clients. So. Recently I've been looking into the idea of journey mapping, and this is a powerful concept, and I give you a link here in the mind map to how to create a basic customer journey map. I call this a client pathway, basically, but click on this link to read more about that. And the basic idea is that the more actual people you talk to or survey about your services and products, whether it's a right match for them or get to know them better so that you can make a better service or product for them, the better matched your service or product is, and the much easier time you have on marketing it. Now, importantly, I want to tell you that please do not go and spend months please do not go and spend months building a service or product before you start to talk to people about it, whether or not they're interested. Because imagine the inventor who spends years in his garage building this product that he thinks is perfect for the world, and then he goes outside of his garage after a few years, after spending thousands of hours, and he goes out and finds out that nobody wants his thing. I don't want you to be like that. Please don't even spend months building a perfect product or program and then finding out nobody wants it. I don't know if I mentioned this in this series already, but think about your marketing as a series of experiments. Just like life. I think about life as just a bunch of experiments. So I have no fear. Hey, there's an unlimited number of experiments I can do. Because I believe that we live many lives. And even in this life, there are millions of experiments I could do, right? So think of all your business and marketing efforts as experiments. And the quicker your experiments are, the faster you will learn and build better experiments, right? So please do not spend, 6 months launching something. Try to spend maybe 1 month launching something, and then the next time you launch, it'll maybe be another 3 to 4 weeks. Your launches will become faster. And by launch, I mean simply letting your warm contacts, letting your audience know that you have an updated service. Now, you might not want to let them know every month. That might seem flaky, but at least you can approach promotional partners and let various promotional partners' audiences know if it's a right match. Again, if it's a right match, do not expect people just to say, yes, I'll promote you. Why would they do that? It's got to be a perfect match for their audience, and it's got to be, a really good reason why they would say yes. But we'll talk about that next time. So launch as if you were launching paper airplanes. not having a baby. Having a baby, you invest so much of your life and self-identity into that baby, and of course you want your baby to live and thrive. But when you're launching a paper airplane, you don't mind if it just crashes, and you just tweak the nose again and tweak the wings again and launch it again. So every one of your launches, think of it as a paper airplane. So the quicker you can launch, here's the thing. Launch first, make sure people are going to buy the thing, and then build it. And then build it. So for example, if you're launching a group coaching program, you put together the sales page, right, which we'll talk about next. You launch it, see if anyone buys it, and people buy it, then you can start putting together the first module. Okay, put together the first module, deliver it to them, and if they enjoy it, ask them how they like the first module, and then you can put together the second module. And you need time to put together your first module. Offer them some free coaching while your first module is being put together. This is how I've done all of my businesses. And this is how all my savvy business partners do it. So remember, launch as if you're launching paper airplanes. You see if anyone wants it, and if anyone buys it, then you build it. Right? You first build a sales page. You build essentially the prototype. See if the people want it, and then if people want it, then you build the actual thing. Make sense? Much, much more reasonable way of doing business. Okay. Let's go now next to niche mate research. Niche mate research, I call them niche mates instead of competitors because framing is so important in how we look at one another and how we build relationships. Your niche mates are, remember the golden rule, do unto others as you would have others do unto you. So for your competitors, do you want your competitors to look at you in fear? And do you want your competitors to look at you in fear and intimidation and wishing that they could crush you as a competition and dominate the competition? No. The golden rule has worked so well for me in marketing and has worked so well for other people. And the golden rule, so I like to look at niche mates. Niche mates are just other people who have families too, who also have true livelihoods they wish to create. And you want them to wish you well just like you would wish them well. Okay, so niche mates, the other reason I call them niche mates is because your so-called competitors, again, I'm going to substitute the term niche mate, your niche mates are either your teachers, your mirrors, or your partners. Okay, so your niche, let's start with partners. Your niche mates could be your partners. If someone is building a similar audience as you, and their service is not exactly the same as yours, you might want to promote each other. Promoting each other is better marketing than just promoting yourselves. Because when you promote yourself, people are like, oh, you're being self-promotional. But when you're recommending someone else's service because you have experienced their service, so before you recommend someone else's service, try to barter a session with one another, right? I've talked about this before, referral network. Barter a session with each other so you can experience each other's service and be able to genuinely, and if you really believe in their service, then you can genuinely recommend them. When your audience sees that you're genuinely recommending someone else, that's a much better way of, let's turn it around. If someone else is genuinely recommending you to their audience, it's a much better way of marketing than you just trying to promote yourself. So niche mates are very valuable potential partners. Or they could be teachers and mirrors. And what I mean is if they're in a really competitive mood and they don't understand the idea of niche mates yet, don't worry, it's okay. You can still look at their marketing and see what you can learn. Right? See what you can learn from their marketing. What do you want to emulate, and what do you definitely not want to emulate? It's often easier to learn marketing, to get better at your marketing by looking at your niche mates than trying to look at your own marketing, because we're usually too close to our own stuff. We design our own website, or we had a big say in, of course, in our own website. It's often too close to look at your own thing. It's much easier to look at someone else's thing who's offered something similar and say, oh wow, I really shouldn't be doing that, or I really should be doing that. And it's a thing that you would have seen on your own website, but you couldn't see it because you were too close. You needed a mirror. That's why niche mates are so valuable as well. Okay? And be sure to look at, one more important thing why they're not competitors, why they're niche mates. Because the world, especially through the internet, is so large. You have more than enough ideal clients just waiting for you to contact them, waiting to know that your thing is so well matched to help them solve their problem in their life or to help them reach a different stage of life, a better stage of life. Okay? The internet is so large that for the rest of your life, you have more clients than you know what to do with. Truly. I'm speaking to you from understanding the internet, having years and years of experience in researching the internet and seeing how big it truly, truly is. Facebook alone, just on Facebook, not let alone the rest of the internet, just Facebook alone. You know how many users there are? 1.3 billion. That's with a B. 1.3 billion active users on Facebook. By active, I mean, and I'm gonna stop my screen share just for a moment to just emphasize this point. Facebook has 1.3 billion active users, and I want to show you. You can go to Facebook. I think it's facebook.com/about. Let's see if that's okay. Let's see if that's right here. In fact, you know what I'll do? I'll go back to screen share so I can show you this very cool statistic, and you can see Facebook statistics. Okay, if you go on facebook.com/about, okay, just go to facebook.com/about, and then click on the about, and then scroll down and click on, actually click on the about down here. Oh, okay, actually this is the about. That's interesting. I didn't realize that this is where they're now sharing all their stuff. It used to be they used to share newsroom. Okay, click on more and then click on newsroom on the Facebook official page. And the newsroom, if I click on this, okay, newsroom.fb.com will share the company info. Let's see if that's what we're looking for here. Okay. Okay. OMC. Okay, so check this out. 1.3 billion monthly active users as of June of 2014. What this means is 1,000. Okay, a million. You know. Okay, so first of all, picture a million people. A million people is like a gigantic movement, right? A big movement of people, right? Now multiply that million people by 1,300 times. That's 1.3 billion as a result. You've got 1.3 billion gigantic movements, okay, of people on Facebook that log in every single month. Now get this. How about people who log in every single day? 829 million people. All right? So if imagine, out of a million people, no, let's just be more something we can really, really think about. Let's say out of 100 people, okay, out of 100 people, one person might be good for your services. Like I'm just being super conservative here. Out of 100 people, one person might be well matched for your services. And then let's take 100 of those people who might be well matched for your services, and let's take one of them, okay, one of them who are like perfectly matched, and if you were to contact them or they were to see your website, they'd be like, oh my gosh, where have you been all my life? Okay, so let's take 1%, 0.01, that's 1 out of 100 people, times 1%. Okay, 1% times 1% is 0.0001%. Okay, so 3 zeros, right? 0.0001% times 829,000,000. That's 829 million people. Okay, so I get this. There are about 83,000 people who log into Facebook every single day who are perfect for your service, who have been, if you were to contact them, they were to see your website, they'd be like, where have you been all my life? Can you serve 83,000 people? No, that's more clients than you could know what to do with for the rest of your life. You could probably serve, like I said, 20 people well at a time if you were doing one-on-one services. If you had a group coaching program, maybe you can coach up to 100 people well at a time. So 83. So I just want to tell you, the world is so large. We're just even playing with a Facebook number here. There's more than. I want you to get you in that mindset of way more than enough. So let's not be so scared, okay? Again, I was talking about 1 out of 100 people might be good for your service, and out of those 100 people, if we add all those 100 people who might be good for your services together, let's say one of those people are perfect. I mean, this is ridiculous. I'm sorry, I'm babbling a bit here, but I'm just astounded by that number. I hope you are as well. Okay, finally, let's go and wrap up this episode by talking about your website and your sales page. So first, a lot of people want to build a good website. So let me first give you some ideas on how to build a good website. I have a series of questions for you. To build a good website, you need to answer these questions first. And I'm not saying you should answer them only once in your life and you have a great website forever. Come back to these questions. If you have a website already, come back to these questions at least once a year, and then optimize your website based on your answers to these questions. So the first question is, do you know your ideal client type? Do you know? I mean, this will require you to first serve a bunch of people. Let's say it will require you to serve at least 10 people before you start to get a sense of your ideal client type. And if you haven't sold any of your services yet, remember, follow Eileen Kennedy Feng Shui, and look at her free bots reading page to get a sense of what you can also offer if you're just starting out. And I want to clarify again, Eileen already has a lot of experience in this, so she's doing this to continue optimizing her services. But if you're just starting out, you could do this free type of page. Offer free services so you can get a sense of who your ideal clients really are. Now, next question. What is one likely scenario that they would be visiting your site? So when someone comes to your website, if they're motivated enough to come to your website, it's because maybe a friend has suggested it and they come to your website with some problem in mind. They're not just coming to your website because they're just surfing the net, and if they're just surfing the net and randomly came across your site, they're probably not going to buy your services or be interested. But if they're interested in your services, it's because they're coming to your site with some problem in their life. What circumstance in their life or in their business or in their health or in their relationships are they thinking about as they come to your website? You know, for example, maybe their spouse is threatening a divorce. And that's what they're thinking about as they come to your website. Well, if you understand that scenario, you would write your website based on speaking to that mindset. Does that make sense? Which is why those conversations, as we did earlier, clarifying the problems and doing your niche interviews, that's why those conversations, doing your niche interviews, are so important. Okay? And now, very importantly, when they come to your website, what would you like them to do? What would you like them to do? So for example, if I go to my website, what do I want people to do when they come to my website? Well, I want them to first be inspired and maybe look through some of these images and just be inspired and get the feel of who I'm about. And then I want them to click on free. Oh my gosh, I gotta edit this. I didn't realize that this image was so large. Wow. Okay. I want them to come to free. That's not supposed to be so large. But I want them to come to free, and I want them to say, wow, this guy is so generous. He used to make 6 figures selling all the stuff that he's now giving away for free. And I want them to, you know, if they're a coach or a healer, I want them to come here. And then I want them to look at the mind map or get the video training, etc. And then I also want them to scroll down and say, oh, I can sign up for his most important updates. I'm going to go ahead and do that, right? And fill out my email address and then subscribe. So you see what I mean? So I want them, and if they're on my coaching page, I want them to look through my coaching page, read through it, and then click on the application and apply for the program. You see what I mean? So I'm clear on what are the steps I want my visitors to do. Are you clear what you want them to do? Okay, so optimize your website based on the answers to these questions. Now, the most important web page on your website is what's called your sales page. Your sales page. Your sales page is the web page where people become your customers. People become your clients. Okay, and if you're building a business, that is the most important web page for your website. And I've given you an actual step-by-step process on how to write your sales page. So that link is also here in the mind map, and you can simply scroll down, and literally I've given you step-by-step how to write your sales page, what technologies to use, and then literally what sections you should have on your sales page and everything like that. Okay, does that make sense? So with that, I want to wrap up this episode, and I want to say what's coming up is next episode we're going to talk about the enrollment process or the launch process, and that's going to be really exciting as well. I hope for you. So If you found this episode to be helpful, if you know anybody else who is looking to start their own business, if you know any friends who are trying to build their business, trying to make their businesses better, trying to do better marketing, I hope you'll send this episode on to them. I create these resources for free because I really want to benefit as many people as possible. So it would just make me feel really good if you could send this on to somebody else who could benefit from this. And until the next episode, as I always like to say, keep your thoughts positive. Keep your thoughts positive, right? And keep your heart open.